NPR News.
Device maker Apple is being ordered by a U.S. District Court judge in Wisconsin to pay more than $500 million in a patent infringement lawsuit brought by the Wisconsin Research Foundation. Settlement comes after a jury found Apple infringed on a patent held by the foundation, which supports research at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Apple's installed the patented chip technology in a number of its products. The company is appealing the jury's findings. After a record run-up, some of U.S. stock market indices are taking a bit of a breather today. The Dow was up 85 points at 21,796. The Nasdaq was down 40 points. This is NPR.
Guru picked all the stories, so get ready for a wild ride. Plus, your calls loaded, queued up, and ready to boot up the show coming up next.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, mail, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip, unzip it, lock it, fill it, call it, find it, view it, code it, jam, unlock it, surf it, scroll it, pause it, click it, cross it, crack it, switch, update it, name it, read it, tune it, print it, scan it, send it, fax, rename it, touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, start, format it, Technologic.
Live from studios in South Hall on the beautiful campus of Jacksonville State University, it's the Hey Techies Show. Now, here are your hosts in chairs that should have been thrown out years ago, Michael, Bruce, and the Guru.
Welcome into the Hey Techies Show. Well, it's one of those nights, Guru, that I tell you.
It's one of those nights. It's Thursday night. It's the best night of the week
is
because Hey Techie Show is on the air.
It is one of those nights that I will probably, pretty sure I will not be on my A game. I don't know. It's just it's been one of those weeks.
Don't say that, Michael. Don't say
I'm
that.
Serious, Guru. It's just
I won't be on my A game.
No,
I'm never on my A game.
If it seems a little off the normal, then you'll know what happened because I hadn't been sleeping too well late and been going to bed way too late. So how are you doing, Guru?
I'm fantastic, Michael, as always.
You are fantastic.
That's right. It's another Thursday night.
Yes.
The 102nd time we've done this show.
That's correct.
Wow.
102. And we have a guest in
Yes,
the
we
house.
do. We have a special guest.
And we're going to let Guru bring him in.
Yeah, so if you listened to the show last week, we had a lot of the time we were mentioning Josh in the chat room. He was contributing to our show and helping add to what we were talking about, which is we really love that. And if you want to do that, go to heytechieshow.com and you can do that through the YouTube chat. Anyway, we thought we enjoyed his commentary so much that we invited him to be on the show tonight.
I'm here.
So our special guest co-host is our listener Josh.
Hey, glad to have him.
Yeah, but in all honesty, I've known Josh for years.
Yeah, a long time.
I've known him since I was in college.
You're going to be honest about it.
Yeah, I am. Mm-hmm. So I contacted him this first part of the week and said, "Hey, would you like to come on and fill the third chair since Bruce is MIA?"
Well, now that is a good point. Bruce is MIA for 2 weeks in a row. You know, he's like vacationing in Tahiti somewhere or something. I don't know if you know that or not, Guru, but he is.
Is he?
That's what I understand.
Tahiti?
I mean, like 2 weeks in Tahiti.
Man, I like to be there.
I wish, man.
I wonder if a cruise ship goes to Tahiti.
He stole the credit card.
I'm sure.
He stole it. He stole Hey Techies credit card.
Oh, wow. Maybe we'll bring some souvenirs to you all.
Yeah, I'd like a new laptop, new MacBook, new iPhone. I don't want a T-shirt. I want like new electronic devices. That's what I want.
Do what now?
I'm being funny.
Bring on electronics.
By the way, if you
I don't want like the T-shirt says, I went to Tahiti and I brought you back with this T-shirt. I want like, bring me a new iPhone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hold the magnets.
By the way,
that's right. I want the magnets.
By the way, if you want to be on the Hey Techie Show tonight, you can call us 256-782-5600 and be a telephone caller on the Hey Techie Show and bring up a subject, ask any kind of question as far as tech.
Yeah,
and you
absolutely.
never know, almost any question that we want to probably address or talk about. And then, of course, you can also join us in the chat room.
That's right. HeyTechiesShow.com. If you go to the homepage, we've got the YouTube live stream you can watch, but part of that is the chat room that you can use if you sign into your YouTube account. Or you want to do it old school way, just send us an email, questions@heytechieshow.com. We can do it the really old way and just call us. But, if you don't want to talk on air, that's fine. Just send us the email. I know we have several listeners that do that from time to time. So.
Now, but while the show was coming on and you couldn't hear us, I was telling the guys I just found out something this morning. By the way, pop my headset up when you get a second. Just one click, Guru. Thank you. I was telling the guys here, Joshua. Is it Joshua, right, or Josh?
Either or.
Which do you prefer?
I prefer Joshua.
Joshua.
Yep.
I like that name.
I'm sorry,
by the way.
I've been saying Josh.
No,
I
it's all good.
apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. Joshua, it's all the same.
And the Guru
you.
prefers the Guru. But I found out something so amazing this morning.
Amazing, earth shattering.
When I was young,
is this breaking news?
It is breaking news. It's breaking news. When I was young, I lived out in California for a while when I was a little kid. I mean, my brother was born out there, and I was 2.5 years old. Well, anyway, I have a very small connection. My uncle still lives out there. In Northern California, my uncle lives. But now this is Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills.
This is Southern California.
Correct. I found out this morning in a news story, off chance that I would find this out, that there are actually churches in Beverly Hills.
Well, why wouldn't there be?
Well, it's surprising. Did you hear about this? I don't know if
no,
you heard about
no,
this.
I did not
you know
hear
how I
about
found
this.
out. It was in the off chance that I would even listen to a story about Justin Bieber. I mean, it's not likely, but apparently.
Yeah, I wouldn't take you as a Bieber fan.
Well, it was on this morning.
Okay.
So
Can't avoid it. You're going to see Bieber.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, Bieber hit a photographer with his vehicle.
Yeah, I did see that.
Well, apparently,
But
as I found out.
What's the rest of the story?
Well, he was leaving a church meeting. Now, I didn't say that there was a church there. I assumed that.
it was Wednesday night prayer meeting.
But well, apparently, some of the parishioners, as was said on I think it was Fox this morning, I saw that they were actually out there praying for the photographer that had failed. Now, apparently, they are not that injured. I mean, I don't know. I've never been hit by cars.
Well, the only part I heard was like he was leaving somewhere in his truck, and he accidentally hit one of the paparazzi, one of the photographers. And then he got out to make sure he's all right.
They said he was
and that's all I saw.
They
I didn't
said
know
he was leaving a church event.
Well, they didn't say that. At least it's
Fox. It really tries to tell you the whole story.
It wasn't Fox.
Well, that's who I heard this morning.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't listen to Fox this morning, so I heard it from some other source. But
Yeah, stories are different.
But it was Wednesday night. He was going to Wednesday night prayer meeting.
That's all.
Well, apparently so. I mean,
whatever their Wednesday night service is.
Two things is shocking about the story.
What's shocking?
Bieber goes to church, and there's a church in Beverly Hills. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just a little surprising.
There was a story about Bieber about.
What, did he lose his cell phone?
No,
Somebody picked it up.
He canceled his tour, but
well,
anyway, I don't want to misspeak because I don't have anything prepared.
Yeah, we might get calls if we keep this up because little 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds.
Well, this is this headline, and we can put we'll put this in the show notes. I know it's not tech related. It's on a website, so I guess it's tech related.
That's fine.
According to this from the dailymail.co.uk, Justin Bieber cancels remainder of concerts due to, quote, spiritual awakening, end quote.
Okay. I have heard
denying he made unpopular decision to start a church.
So
maybe more to this.
Oh, wow. He might have been the pastor there.
Yeah, that's another
this is a twist that I never even thought of.
Yeah,
he was leaving in his big SUV and hit a paparazzi.
Well, this was July 26th when this article. It's
wow,
yesterday.
you know what? That would really put a new spin on the term holy roller. I mean, I just don't know how else to quantify that. Wow. Good grief. Yeah, and in a related story, Guru.
Oh, we got a related story.
Totally related. And this is tech, totally related. I don't know if you know this, but Twitter apparently fails to grow its audience again.
That's shocker.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently
the monthly activity stands at 328 million users.
Only 328 million. We were shooting for 400 million, and man, we just can't hit that.
But actually, you and I know. I mean, we're professionals here. We know there's a huge portion of fake accounts on Twitter. We know they're done by algorithms, and they use these algorithms like they plaster They get a company, and we talked about this before, but just to tie the end on the bow on this, they plaster a company with all these things about we're never going to buy your product again if you support so and so, blah blah blah, and most of it is totally fake accounts, and they just scare that sponsor or whatever from.
But it's not true metrics. We've said this on the show before. It's not true metrics of an audience when you have fake accounts.
Yeah, I know.
When they
I
tout
agree.
300 million accounts. Well, how many of those are fake? You wonder.
I think there's a lot of them.
I figure at least 10% are.
And there's a lot. There's some accounts that you can go in and buy, like business can buy.
That's right. I've
buy
seen
followers.
That.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we've gotten an email sent to me about doing that for the Techies.
Yes,
That's
I
crazy.
remember that.
It's too easy to do.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
No,
that's
no,
a little
no,
bit.
no bot accounts from Hey Techies Show. What you see from ours is
That's
truly
right.
one of us writing it.
That's right. We've even had, and I haven't brought this up on the show. We've even had time after time individuals who claim to be journalists want to put articles on our website.
They want to write for our site.
They want to write for our site.
And if they go to our website, we have no place where we put articles.
I know, but
we have the ability to do that, but we don't.
But
we put the show up there in the notes and want you to watch it
but
and or
here's
listen.
the problem with that. Once you sign up for that,
Oh,
you're given free reign for them to do or say almost anything. Even if you go back and cut it off, I mean, you've still done it. So it's always been a no for me.
Oh,
and actually, I don't even reply to them. I just okay.
Yeah, just ignore it.
Nice to talk to you. Or I guess I really haven't. Hey, I wonder if listener Jason's listening tonight, or he may be vacationing with Bruce. He's in Tahiti with Bruce.
That's it. He's in Tahiti.
He's in Tahiti with Bruce. Well, when we come back, we're gonna let Joshua talk. I've had him tied up over here in the corner.
Yeah,
I put the shh finger on it. Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
We're just getting started. Plenty more Hey Techies Show for your listening pleasure.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladica Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
Welcome back into the Hey Techies Show.
Playlist courtesy of me.
Yeah, Guru always has a great playlist.
That's nice.
If you're a music lover, tune into the Hey Techies Show. You can hear.
These have got good kind of ambiance of summer.
Sure.
And we're kind of rolling. Summer's kind of quickly fading away, so
It is.
need to enjoy it while we have it, or we'll be I said in a couple months we'll be complaining about the cold weather.
Need that old song called "Cruel Cruel Summer." You remember that?
Oh,
It's a cruel summer. Dun,
I'm gonna have to put that down and put myself a note.
I think that was from Karate Kid. If I'm remembering right, it was from the first Karate Kid. Well, I mean, it was a song, but they used it in the first Karate Kid.
I remember that.
Maybe I should
remember.
say it that way.
Yeah,
They basically used it in a transition between vacation time and back to school. Had little beach pictures in there. Well, anyway. Well, welcome into the Hey Techies Show for this segment.
This is not the Hey Music Show.
No, well, it's the Hey Whatever You Want It to Be show.
Well, music's tech.
It is.
You play it on your iPhone or if you're unfortunate, your Android device.
Oh, speaking of that,
I think Michael's outnumbered tonight. Josh is a iPhone user. Sorry.
Oh well, I don't get.
Sorry, Michael.
You know, I don't care.
I know.
I mean, if he wants to play, I could use an iPhone if I had one. I don't have one.
Why not?
Because I don't want one.
But at least you'll have a Windows phone.
Yeah, that's true.
No, listen, Guru. I don't have a Windows phone. But by the way, you're setting these up and you just don't even know it. You do realize that you're just setting this up.
I'm just that good.
You
I'm
just
just
don't
that
know.
good.
you did know that Windows, with the preview release of the build that's supposed to come out this fall, they have turned on a feature for Android devices where you can push what you're doing on your phone to a computer.
So from your phone to your
correct
computer.
or back and forth. I think.
That's cool.
Now I
Okay.
don't think it's working for every Android OS, but I think the latest it's working for some of them.
It's working like on N,
And
or just certain.
no,
hardware.
I think it's working before that.
Oh,
And it may be working on some hardware, but now I do know that our
So is it like a
our-
screen mirroring, or I mean,
No. Like if you were on a link or something, and
Oh.
or you could, and also you're supposed to be able to push a file.
See, iOS had that forever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's not new.
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So who copied who that time? Ooh,
Well, I actually think Android's been able to do it for the devices before then. We're not talking about phone. We're talking about
but
phone
iOS and
to computer.
iOS and Mac OS, that's done that for years. See?
Yeah, I know, but that's in the same. No,
Bruce,
wait a
if
minute.
Bruce-
Wait. Let's talk. Hold on, just a second.
Say, Bruce, if you're listening,
Listen-
hey,
listen
Apple
to
got
me.
that right. Apple did that first.
You are absolutely correct.
All right, I know that.
Listen, from the same maker of the product. Apple
I
to
can't.
Apple.
I can't debate that.
This is Android to a Windows.
Well, it's like I can't remember if I said this on air last week, but I'm gonna say it now.
And by the way, this feature is not turned on for iOS.
You go to a Microsoft store today.
Yes, I know.
They sell Android devices now in the store. Now you can get Windows phones through their online store, but if you go to a physical Microsoft store, which I was at one 2 weeks ago, the only mobile devices that I saw, now they may have had them tucked away in the corner somewhere, but the only mobile phones I saw them selling were Samsung Android devices. And I was like,
That's
whoa.
interesting.
So
The writing's on the wall,
according,
obviously.
According to this Engadget article, if you have an Android phone, you can link it to your PC to continue web browsing on the bigger screen. Once it's set up, you only have to use your browser's usual sharing options to punt a website to your computer.
They make it sound easy, but
That makes it.
It
that puts a
probably
whole
is-
other meaning to back up and punt.
It does. Now, of course, Microsoft has promised in the Fall Creators Update this feature and a few other slicker features.
Slicker.
Yeah. According to this. Also, related to something that you brought up just a while ago, by the way, you do realize that we talked about it before the show, but apparently Apple has decided to discontinue the Nano and the Shuffle.
Yeah, I know. I
don't know
saw
if
that
anybody
today at lunch.
has that. Have you ever had one of those?
I have.
Really?
I had a shuffle. Yep,
Did you enjoy it?
I did. I did at the time. I mean, that was when they first came out. The stick. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it because you could plug it in, like plug it into any USB
Yes.
and just play audio straight from it. So that was cool.
Okay. Well, I don't have any issue with these devices. As a matter of fact, I did have a older 3G phone that was no longer a phone. I was just using it basically like an iPod, and it worked well. But a few things, the Wi-Fi's not working on it. A few things were dying on it, so
Like
it's
the
not,
actual iPhone 3G.
yes.
Oh yeah, that was a good phone.
Yeah, it was. Well, anyway, it was given to me. So long story short, though, the thing that I hated about it, and I still do, and obviously I use an iPad for all kind. And I really enjoy the iPad. I mean, especially since the update when I can bring in another screen and click on something and open. I can have several things working at it side by side. It's very nice. But I hate iTunes. I hate having to sync. I hate dealing with iTunes.
That's understandable. You got to get used to it.
It's just so. It's like being in a prison for music.
So with Android, you just use the drag and drop feature, I guess. You just drag it to a folder, and that's where your music is.
Well, I don't ever fool with that because I don't like the way they do theirs either.
But here's the thing.
So I don't listen to music on my phone. I guess I'm.
Here's the
enough.
thing.
Except if it's on YouTube or something. Stream
Yeah,
something.
streaming. It's what it's getting to now. Streaming.
Yeah,
of
everything
course it
seems
is.
streaming.
But they made that whole iTunes interface to put music on your device for the non-techie.
Mm-hmm.
We're all very technically minded, and I agree it's clunky to use, but I just deal with it.
It is. And once you get used
I
to
didn't
it,
say I didn't use it. However, I will tell you this: most of the time, I end up buying music through my iPad, because I can do that. You can go to the store and I just get music that way.
that's the easiest way.
Yeah. I mean, I've found it. And you can. There's not. Oh, we got
No,
we got somebody
no.
smiling over here.
No, it's a text message I got. So sorry, I had to respond.
Yeah,
to
it's gotten to the point now where mostly I use streaming services for music.
Yes.
You know, I don't even really sync music anymore.
What's your take on Apple Music? Since we're talking about streaming services.
You know, I use Spotify.
Okay.
And then I started using Tidal. And,
Tidal. I
yeah,
never heard of
I
Tidal.
know
Oh, yeah.
the Tidal's
Tidal,
good.
yeah, like
Well,
Tidal
I say
Wave.
It's good.
Okay.
Jay-Z put Tidal out, so it's more of a hip hop.
Okay.
So you get a lot
okay.
of exclusive hip hop items, but
That's my go-to music.
I know
Not really.
a lot of people use Apple Music and they love it. You know,
Yeah,
I think they're really all the same when it comes to streaming music.
We talked
really.
about
I mean,
Spotify last week a little.
Yeah,
bit,
we did.
But they're still in a heap of trouble over
Oh,
lawsuits.
oh yeah, about the
Yeah.
whole
yeah.
royalty piece. Yeah.
Who knows how that'll turn out?
We'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Well, anyway, so what did you bring to the table tonight? What would you like to bring on the Hey Techie
I did
show?
bring an article about this company that is
Okay.
they're implanting microchips into their employees.
Okay.
And so far, from what I've read, over 50 of them have willingly accepted it and are allowed them to go through with it. It's pretty interesting.
Now, what exactly is it allowing them to do?
It's allowing to access certain areas, and they don't say it in the article, but I'm sure it's allowing the company to track them. So if they're in the bathroom for a long amount of time, they can say, "Hey, you know, what are you doing there so long?" But there's really no telling what they're doing.
So they're
with it.
using it for access control.
Access control, yep, and keeping up with you know what they do. Time in, time out, clock in.
Okay, so I'm going to play the not even devil's advocate. I don't even think you have to go that far. I think
You go ahead. I got something I want to say, but you go first.
But I'm
Michael.
curious because I haven't read the article, but I'm curious, Josh. What would be the incentive for the employee doing this other than if you don't do it, you're going to be fired?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's you know what's crazy is in 25, 30 years, what if it's the norm?
Well,
You know?
it will be the norm for everybody but me.
There you
Because
go.
I'm just promising you, I'm not doing that. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I have a lot of reasons, and I'm just not putting one of those in my body.
Yeah,
that's
and-
understandable.
And I'm skimming through this article, and it's been a couple of days since I've read it thoroughly. But from my recollection, they're not demanding; they're offering it
Okay,
to their
absolutely,
employees. So
yeah.
it's an optional piece.
Correct. So let's go back to Josh's point of what he was saying.
Okay.
That he thinks that it's possible that they could find out
Oh,
if
it-
they were in
oh,
the
yeah.
bathroom
Absolute-
for 30.
absolutely.
Okay, so I go back to my original question. Why, if it's not, hey, you don't pick up your check today, or you don't get that, you get this, pick up your check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
would you do it?
Another thing too is the technology is RFID. So RFID is like you got to be close in proximity. So you got to like you're accessing a door, you have to
Right.
put your
Correct.
hand close
That's
to the
what I'm
door.
wondering
So-
about.
So tracking per se,
But-
I mean, you can't unless they
You-
have
you- well,
readers hidden that when
well,
you walk by it, you kind of.
I used to work in retail, and let me just tell you this: I used to work in retail, and at the time, and I don't know what this company's doing because I no longer employed by that company. But at the time I was there, they were using RFID in inventory tracking.
Yes.
And they had readers
Yeah.
stationed at the receiving doors of the building, where the transition between the back room
Sure.
and the sales floor, and they could tell you if a case of product with an RFID tag that was RFID enabled, they could tell you if it was in your back room or not.
Oh wow! So I guess it really depends on
So,
the readers.
The it depends on the how I mean the power of that, and if that tag passes through that field, you know it receives energy through that that field of whatever radio signal. I'm not the expert at that piece of
Sure
how it
you
works,
are.
but theoretically you could use that to track people and where they're at. You could.
Track them where?
Well, where are they at? Are they in the break room, or are they actually at their desk, or
They have the register.
are they here or
In time.
not? Or I'm sorry, I'm with you, Michael. Nuh-uh. Now, if it came down to me, they're having a job or not, I probably have to because I've got to work to support myself.
I tell you what.
But I'm just like this is too 1984 George Orwell for me. Nuh-uh. It's just too much. Big
I'm
Brother.
gonna say I would do it. I would almost willingly do it to an extent.
Now, let's change this a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. There are people that would come on this show and say that you're already doing this.
Yes, and I thought of that.
you're already really doing this, and I am too, in a way,
Yeah.
and you probably haven't thought about it
Well,
long enough.
I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Your cell phone.
Yes.
But not only that cell phone
Yeah.
as in where you might be, but let's say you were a suspect in a crime.
Yeah.
Technically, the metadata they could go get, and they could see that your phone ping triangulated
Yeah, they can.
somewhere. If they're looking, let's say it's a home, or let's say it's a bar, or they're looking at something happened outside of a bar.
They can get you within
Right.
close proximity
Close
of a
proximity
location.
to say you might be a suspect. I'm not saying you would be guilty.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you might be a suspect. You know, you were there at that time when X approximately happened. Okay?
Yeah.
So in a roundabout way, we already have this voluntarily by almost everybody.
You do. But the thing with that is law enforcement is like besides the person who owns the metadata, which would be your utility, your cellular provider, law enforcement's the only one that can get that information. Now, with that being said, if you're using, like, let's say you're at a place of employment that offers Wi-Fi,
Yeah, right.
and, and a lot of them do that.
Right.
They can't get you a pinpoint, but they can get you in the ballpark of where you're at based on what AP you're hitting.
Correct.
What access
Right.
points you are.
Right.
Especially if it's a very large, facility that you work at that has multiple access points because of the sheer size of the facility you work at. So, but I'm sorry, that's just too much Big Brother for me. And granted, yes, you're right. By having a cell phone and keeping it on my person, I'm kind of already doing that. But I'm not gonna put an RFID chip in my body.
Yeah,
You're
cell
not-
phones you can
No,
turn off.
I won't.
But
You're
Yeah,
not doing it. Oh, sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
you're fine. If you have a chip in you, it's in you.
Yeah, there's no undoing that. I can choose not to bring my phone with me.
This reminds me.
I can choose to leave my phone at the house.
Yeah, this reminds me of the movie Total Recall. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you ever see?
I'll be back.
Yeah, it's a long time
That was
ago.
Terminator though. But I remember
No.
the movie, but it's been a long time since I've seen it, so I don't know a whole lot of details.
Early on in the film, he had to remove a sensor from his head, and he used this thing that went up through his nose to pull it out. I don't know if you've ever seen the film, but
I know-
and actually
I
they
know which clip you're
remade
talking
it
about.
not long ago to a new version. But anyway,
Yeah. Very, 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 very interesting. But I think from what I've read on this, and it may have been in this article or I may have read it somewhere else, apparently this is more popular in Europe.
yeah.
Well, that's right there's the first sentence, duh. But this is, I think, one of the first companies in the United States to offer this to their employees. From what I'm understanding. And they do claim that there's no GPS tracking at all. And it may not be currently, but that's not to say they couldn't do it later.
Absolutely. And another thing is too, if your company offered it, and you were like, okay, I'll do it, you kind of have better job security because why would they let you go when they have track of you? It's kind of like you're hired, you're there.
No, it's just you've got that in you. And if you
Well-
leave, they still somewhat know about you, I guess. But
No, I don't think so. I'm going to go out on another limb and assume that they can break that connection and your ID is just deleted.
Then you're just
And
a
there's
chip.
no
yeah.
more. Yeah,
Just a
you
chip
just
human.
yes, or they can have it surgically removed relatively easy. I wonder how it's put in. I mean, you don't go for like a 3-day surgery. They must put it in with a. Does it say?
They don't. I don't say. I've seen a couple. You can kind of see on the website. It's got a little image. It's actually like right here, like it's implanted here.
yeah, but-
Right.
and he's
So-
pointing to between his thumb and his.
So it
Index
must be
finger.
something, a shotter almost like it.
Well,
that
It's
pushes
almost like
in.
I can remember back. God, this is back when I was in college, like the early 2000s. That they were doing this for pets. They'd put it kind of
Yep.
behind their neck, and they could use a reader to get that some sort of number and be able, like, if your animal got lost, a vet or somebody that had that reader could go back and look at a national database and say, oh, this is Guru's dog. Let me get in contact.
Oh
with
yeah,
him.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess unless those things go bad, you wouldn't take that out.
Well, it's RFID though. I mean, it doesn't. I
Right.
mean, anything can go bad is tech, but
Yeah, I know.
there's
It
no
really should.
there's
right.
there's no power source
Sure.
on board, so it ain't like batteries are gonna go down. It
Correct,
doesn't.
right.
When it gets in that energy field, it powers itself and pings out that its unique identifier. That's basically how RFID works.
Yeah.
You know.
That's another thing too. The Top Golf, the balls that they
Yes.
the balls use RFID. So I thought about this whenever I read it because you're hitting those at high speed and they don't have a problem with their balls. So they're very durable. Obviously,
I didn't realize I'd never been to a Top Golf. I've heard of the company, but
that's what they use RFID. It tells exactly where the ball lands and the targets and stuff.
That's pretty neat.
Now I don't know whether this is how they're doing that. I'm making I've watched a little golf, but I know that they can project on TV where the ball a actual graphical representation, like they draw a line,
like the first down line in football.
Right, but
and,
this shows the arch of the ball.
I don't think it's using RFID in a tournament like that.
And
but
it's actually the same company that does the like the baseball strike zone, first down line, the golf. It's all the same company. It's just it's a certain type of camera.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
capturing the ball.
But like in a driving range,
that
scenario, it's more. There's a lot of people shooting balls in the same area, so it's trying to show you where yours is going in relation to all these others. We're in a golf tournament. You're the only one playing at that moment on that fairway or whatever.
Yeah, I see. I can see it.
Yeah, but the tech behind these sporting events, what they've done with the graphics and be able to easily, you can see the arc and see, where. I mean, back to the 1st and 10 line. I mean, at the time that was just amazing. What they keep on making it better and better and adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. I'd like to get somebody on that knows a lot about that, how it works in television. It's just fascinating to me.
It's crazy on that same subject. I learned about that on I think it was one of the NFL shows or whatever, but they were saying in baseball, they could actually every time call a strike and let you know when it's a strike, when it's a ball, but they don't want to go to that because they want to keep it old school, have the umpires calling it.
Right, right. I mean? And they've got instant replay now in Major League Baseball. I don't know if there's certain times they can use it like you can in college football.
Right, right. Yeah, it's not quite as used as much.
No, it's not as used as much.
Compared to college, and it's probably a good thing.
But
the game's already slow enough as it is.
And another tangent to get us even more off track, instant replay is coming to – it's been at the college football level, at the top level of the FBS for years. It's going to the FCS. Well, it's been in some FCS conferences, but it's going to the Ohio Valley Conference this year, which Jack State is a member of the Ohio Valley Conference. So they'll have the instant replay during the regular season.
Yeah, we've had it
during playoffs. We've had it because when you get into the NCAA playoffs, it's required to have instant replay. But now at the regular season games that Jack State participates in, that are at least OVC games, they will have the instant replay capabilities.
That's
where if the official wants to, if it's in the rules where they can review the play, they'll be like on television. They'll get the headset on. They'll call up to the booth and talk to the replay official. Or I guess the coach will have the ability to challenge a play like that's can. Which I think that's a good use of tech. I know it's old school and you want the official to call it as they see it, but let's just kind of further backing it up.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And I think college football does it right because they can't overturn the call on the field unless there's evidence to prove otherwise. So sometimes opinion, because they're relied on the camera shots of the television crew that's filming the game. There's not like secret camera angles. It's whatever TV is covering.
Yeah, that's true.
That they get that in the booth where they can play it back, different angles, different times, and they can see from all these angles, but they're still dependent on what they get. So if an official calls a touchdown, they review it, and there's not the evidence. Let's say they rule it as incomplete, and it should have been a touchdown, and I think I've kind of lost myself in my mind, but basically, if the evidence doesn't overturn it. The ruling on the field stands, and I know a lot of sport fans, depending on what side of the team you're for or against, and it's like the last play of the game, and like this could make us where we could go to the playoffs or not, and it's like But again, I think it's done as fairly as you can do it, but you want to get it right.
To tie it back around to RFID, imagine if they were to put RFID into footballs.
I know, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Like the moment the ball broke the plane, and was it still in bounds? Could be able to tell that?
Was that a touchdown?
That would be cool. That would be cool. I bet you somebody's trying to figure that out.
Well, that would change the whole game.
Yeah,
we've already changed what a catch is. in the
Yeah.
game of football by review. And
Yeah.
wow.
There's a lot of people that wouldn't agree with that.
Did the ball
yeah.
touch the ground? You could probably tell that maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Did it cross like you said? Did it cross the plane?
Did the ball break the plane? Was it still in bounds? Because they can,
Oh yeah, there's a lot there. They use it.
I
They,
guarantee somebody's trying to figure that out right now.
They use video things like that in tennis. I mean, to tell whether it's in or out. It's very accurate, actually. And they can review some things in that too. So, by the way, speaking of technology things, did you know that Microsoft has had a bounty program, right?
Well, a bug bounty.
Yeah, bug bounty.
Yeah, a lot of.
for
I
years.
mean, we talked about this. It's been over a year ago, but
Yes.
United Airlines has got one too.
Yes, but now they have upped it.
Oh,
By the way, if you
putting
according
the
to
chips on
an
the table.
article, if you discover exploits in Microsoft Hyper-V, the company's virtualization software, you could get up to $250,000 reward.
wow.
Yes. Now, most of the rewards they huddle around $500. Like any critical important class, remote code execution, elevation of privileges, or design flaw that compromises a customer's privacy security. But those seems like important things there.
It is, especially. I don't know everything about Hyper-V. Probably Bruce would if he was here, but it's that with all that virtualization and segmenting of resources and stuff. You don't want, and you may have multiple customers' boxes on the same physical hardware virtualized. So that's a big deal if you had vulnerabilities there.
$250,000.
So
A lot of dough there.
well, they would rather, I guess, somebody be upfront and level with this, and the only way you're going to do that is show me the money. Instead of, well, let me just take this exploit to somebody else. They can do nefarious things. Microsoft wants to know about it, and they're willing to put their money on the line.
Okay,
So,
there are a few caveats.
Of course, it's Microsoft. What do you expect?
Right. I mean, just like you need.
Well, it's like any company. I mean, there's always gotchas.
Yes,
it ain't like,
but-
you got a memory leak. I want $250,000.
Right, but with Microsoft, you always need expiration dates on their statements because that's my common thing with them.
Yeah.
That says here the company will still offer an award to the first. For starters, if a Microsoft employee spots an issue first, the company will still offer an award for a first person outside the company who details it. But it'll be about 10% of the maximum, so you might only get up to $25,000 only. That's still a nice.
I would like
they
only $25,000.
Really,
for
for
me.
finding a bug, I'll take that.
I mean, they could pretty much say if you found a major bug, they could say, well, we already knew about that. So here's your
that's true.
$25,000.
I mean, it could.
That's what hurt the jailbreak community of iPhones is the bounties.
And here again, the article ends with this, and I've said, don't forget, you need a statement from Microsoft that they can change their mind anytime, okay? And usually do. Microsoft says it will keep the program running indefinitely in its current form. Okay. Sure.
In its current form, as in this is a program.
Right.
The definition of said program is subject to change. They don't say
Yeah.
that. That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah. Trust me.
They can do whatever they want.
Trust me, it will definitely outlive its, what would you call it? It will outlive its newness on Microsoft eventually. Hey, take a show. Be right back.
Don't go anywhere. There's more in the queue lined up just for you.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladica Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
You're listening to the Hey Techies Show on WLJS Jacksonville.
So I'm back to the velvet underground, back to the floor that I love.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show.
To a room with some
I know you don't like the.
Oh, it don't bother me. I
the
know how
vocals,
to, if I
but-
can get in between them, it's even better. You
Well, we
know,
kind of ran that one long, so sorry.
Oh, it's all right. By the way, if you want to be on the Hey Techie Show, 256-782.
5600.
And you can join us. And, of course, we have Josh here
Yes,
with us.
we do.
who
Thank you
is
again, Josh, for joining us.
Absolutely.
Now a contributor to the show forever.
That's right.
Episode 102. He can forever
right.
say, for whatever that'll get him. Probably not much.
Yeah, we've had some very good contributors and guest co-hosts
Sure.
from our main man Micah
Yeah.
to let's see.
Robotics team.
We've had,
Oh,
they've
yeah,
been like
that's-
guests on the
yes.
show,
Yeah,
but
okay.
like I'm thinking co-hosts like
Ted?
Yeah, Ted's been on. These names are escaping me. They're probably yelling at their radios right now. But Trey,
Trey.
you know, the founder of JSU
right.
Esports here on campus. He
Hey Concept.
he's on. Yeah, A Concept's been on the show. We've had several good ones. So I love bringing in these people to kind of we'll talk these stories out with these other tech enthusiasts. Let us unite right here on Hey Techies.
That's right. Go ahead and call in if you're out there.
So
That's right.
what was your space story you wanted to cover last
Oh,
week?
well, it was your story.
What was it? About the moon thing? About
no, but the space station.
Oh,
So we can talk about it now.
Well,
I mean,
I just don't remember. Did you put it back on the
yeah,
dock?
yeah, it's an overclock stack, but we can talk about it now.
Oh,
So,
well, we can save it till then. That's fine.
well, I've already started talking about it. Everybody's like, oh, we're waiting. So Google,
Oh, that.
Google has,
That's
I
right.
guess, teamed up with NASA on this, and you can now do Google Street View inside the International Space Station. And I did this the other night. It was pretty neat. You can kind of go through the different modules, and you can. I mean, it's the real high quality photos that have been taken. They're the 360 kind where you can, pan around and rotate, and look up and down, and zoom in on stuff. It is very neat. And
That's cool.
so this, let's see.
Definitely got to bookmark that. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, we'll definitely put this in the show notes. But Thomas Pesquet, I probably butchered that name like I do most
No,
names.
that
An
sounds
astronaut with the European Space Agency, spent 6
It's
months
my
working.
neighbor.
Okay, well, so you got an astronaut's neighbor.
Yeah. Just
He's
right
an
up front.
astronaut with the European Space Agency. So do you live in Germany now?
No, he
Or
he has a
France,
house here. Comes visit.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Uh-huh.
He has a summer home here? Okay.
Yeah.
So he spent 6 months
Winter.
working aboard the ISS, capturing, and while he was serving on the ISS, he captured these Street View images for Google. Working with Google, this is a quote from him, working with Google on my latest mission, I capture Street View imagery to show what the ISS looks like from the inside and to share what it looks like down on Earth from outer space, he said in a blog post published by Google. And in this article, there's a link to it where you can actually go in and do the Street View. So we'll definitely put this in the show notes among all the other stuff we talk about at heytakeyshow.com. Very, very cool thing. Definitely need to check out. So that was the space story, Michael, that you forgot you put in there.
Yes,
last
I
week.
did.
So what you got? What say you now,
About that?
or about anything?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you all know. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us.
I don't know what I'd say. I did post that in there, but I don't remember why I even did it.
I thought it was interesting, and that's
It
why
is
I brought
interesting.
that forward. So we didn't get to it last week. So
Something that did cross my radar here just earlier tonight.
Okay.
I'd heard that this was actually going on, but I didn't know the details of it. But apparently, a judge rules that politician violated First Amendment by banning critical commenter.
oh.
Now, this is a tough deal here to me.
Well, the way you said it's why I said ooh, but let's talk about it. So,
Well, here's the deal. Apparently, a commenter
Just like on, I guess, like a social media,
Yes,
like
a social
Facebook
media,
or
yes,
something.
on Facebook.
Okay.
Apparently, a politician in Virginia, according to the federal court, said they crossed the line when she temporarily banned a constituent from commenting on her Facebook page.
So I wish Bruce was here because he could kind of get into the more, I'd say, legalese of this, but there's got to be something in the terms and conditions of Facebook that you can do this, but it goes back to this thing, just because you should doesn't mean you, just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's all about perceptions, and I mean, granted, it's one of your constituents, so you don't want to obviously upset your constituents. They're the ones that
But that's where you go vote or not vote.
Exactly, and you can't agree with everybody. This is a democracy we live in the United States.
I don't agree with this.
But you can't. It goes back to the old saying: you can't make everybody happy.
The judge,
I mean, our country's founded on. I'm sorry, I keep
going.
Our country's founded on us debating. I mean,
I
look what happens
understand
right now
that.
with this healthcare stuff that's going on. You know, that's a whole. We're not going to go into healthcare,
It's
but
not tech for sure.
no, it's not. But I mean, a healthy debate is a good thing.
It is.
Yes.
But go ahead. I'm
I
gonna be
can
quiet.
see it both ways, but I think the way to handle this is you just don't go vote for the person. I mean, my point is, I don't think it needs to go through the courts and say you can't.
Yeah.
It would be, to me, it would be different if this person, who is a politician, got her internet cut off so she couldn't be on the internet.
That's different. Yes.
That would be something.
Yes.
Or rather, she was able to, by some hook or crook, get Facebook to ban her as on Facebook.
Like she couldn't get on Facebook anymore.
Correct. Right. But just because you say, well, I don't want this person commenting on anything I do on Facebook, and I am a politician and I use this forum, and I'm banning that user for whatever reason. That user then says, well, I'm not voting for you. Blah, 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 blah.
And if I was in that same shoes and I got banned by my representative or my senator or whatever because they didn't agree with what I said, because I was being critical of them, that's what I would do. I would vote with my vote and not vote for you.
You know what? I would actually take it as a great honor to be banned from as a constituent.
Yeah.
That I said something that
I
irritated
made
them so much.
I made he or she so mad
I
at me.
must have hit a note. I must have hit something.
You could definitely tout that. It's like I got banned by my congressperson.
The judge points out that about section of Randall's page describes her as a government official. Okay, I guess this is the judge's reasoning.
Okay.
That it links to the county website and provides only her official government contact information. So basically, he's trying to say this is tied in to a government. Sort of like it's representing a government website.
They're akin it to like let's say a Facebook page of a government department.
Yeah.
Because that is the government. It's part of the government. And yeah, that would be.
So
then you start getting into that First Amendment stuff there.
So the judge also points out that by her using chief of staff to set up and maintain the page, Randall, the politician, isn't effectively using county resources. You know, so I see these arguments, but I just don't know.
But let me say this: Facebook is not a right.
Yeah, I agree.
Facebook's a business, and anybody can create an account. There's not a physical monetary cost to create an account. Yeah, they serve you ads because that's how they're trying to monetize their business. But again, there's nothing that says you have the right to Facebook. Yes, you have the right to free speech as an American. We all have that right as being an American.
I'm trying,
but we don't have the. I mean, you don't have a. There's not. You have the right to free speech and Facebook. That's not in the First Amendment.
Exactly.
The Facebook part is not. So it's. But I mean, I just don't know.
By the way, the ban.
But again, I would still just like, I'm done with you. You lost my vote.
Just let's.
But I like Michael's idea. Kind of, you could make that go viral. Like, I got blocked by my congressperson.
Yeah, T-shirts. I like this. I think this is we like to cover as much truth as we pull out of these articles. We break them. We
yeah.
try to break them down, pull out as much sense.
Yeah, we
that
try.
you
We
can
try
find in
not.
someone.
We try our hardest
so
not to have fake news.
Randall, the politician, removed the ban after 12 hours.
Okay.
She didn't. The person was not permanently banned.
And that's
and
the,
this
yeah,
is
you
what
can
this,
turn that on and off. So they unbanned you.
Okay, so Randall said the comment was probably not something she wanted to have on her page, but rather than challenge Davison by offering a rebuttal, she simply deleted the entire post, taking Davison's comment off with it. So she then banned him from her page after deciding that Davison was the type of person that would make comments about people's family members, and she did not want that on her page. So more of a personal, I guess. I cannot find what the comment was. Okay, I've tried. It doesn't state it explicitly in the article.
It'd be cool if Facebook had an archive where you could go back.
Oh, I guarantee Facebook's got it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I
just
mean, like,
because
publicly.
you delete something off of Facebook or any other site doesn't mean it's gone.
Absolutely, it's on there.
I can tell you, as a software developer, you can say you deleted it, but all you can do is change a flag to where it's no longer visible. Just saying, just tidbit. If you put it on the internet, chances are it's still there.
Absolutely, even Snapchat. People sending pictures on Snapchat, even though they disappear from your feed and you can't see them. Snapchat servers still have them.
Oh yeah. Well, I think
Absolutely.
we've talked about that on the show before, or at some point somewhere.
One of the other 101 shows.
Well,
Yeah.
Would not the user have the right to go create their own page that said so and so banned me page?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
As long as they're not representing themselves as
Yeah,
that
and
person.
they're not violating any terms of service.
There's
to
a lot of
Facebook.
ways to handle this
Yes.
other than
Well,
wasting our time in the courts.
Yeah, and show up.
I mean, just my
show up
opinion.
in person to that representative's office locally or in Washington or wherever. I mean, you can. They're still your. That's still your. That's that person you banned. They're still a constituent, and I mean, you have the right as that being your elected person to go talk to them. I mean, they might not want to talk to you for long, but you can go talk to them. I mean,
Right.
I think dragging it to the court system was the wrong thing because now you're starting to you're creating precedent, and you're on that slippery slope. But again, what this was probably a lower level court, so of course it can always be appealed to higher
could
court
be.
and all that. I mean,
Let's see. Loudoun County, Virginia.
it could have made it to federal court, but like there's multiple levels of federal court. This wasn't the Supreme Court.
Actually, it was a federal court.
Well, I mean, but there's multiple levels of federal courts. So
Yeah, I know you're right. I
as
wasn't
long as
questioning
now if
that.
the Supreme Court rules on it, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it's done. But anyway, it was probably not in the best thing to do. But again, they had that right to do that.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I mean, it's very very interesting. I mean, I never would have. Anyway, I never would have done this, nor would I've. It's one of those things. You can't make this stuff up. It's too good. to make
Yeah, well, anyway, I thought it was definitely Techies discussion.
Oh
material.
yeah, very good discussion. So we got like 4 minutes till the break. So let me cover this real quick. I had this at the top of the stack. So people know I like traveling. I kind of follow the airline stuff and aviation. So within the last couple months ago, the U.S. government banned laptops from traveling as
Yes.
carry-ons on flights that originate in certain countries. They had to be put in as like checked baggage, and some airlines tried to accommodate passengers by extra handling of them so they could use them up to the point they got on the plane and all that good stuff. Well, they've changed that, and they've made more stricter, screening of all passengers coming in the country for security and anti-terrorism and all that. Well, now they've went a step further. As of Wednesday, which was yesterday, the Transportation Security Administration announced that stronger screening procedures for carry-on electronics. This is all flights. This is domestic and international. They'll require all devices larger than a cell phone to be placed in bins for X-ray screening when going through standard screening lines at the airport. So what this means, in the past, if you had your laptop with you, you went through the regular line, not the pre-check, but the regular line. And we can talk more in the second hour if we want to, but you went through the standard line. If you had a laptop, you had to take it out and put it in a separate bin so they could screen it separately from the rest of your bag. so they can make sure they can see that device really well. Make sure there's nothing. It's truly a laptop. And if you had like a tablet, an iPad, or something akin to that was not a laptop computer, you could actually leave it in your carry-on bag and just like in your backpack and just send it on through. And there was times I traveled with an iPad and I could just do that. It was nice. But now anything larger than a cell phone, which would be your tablet-sized devices, you've got to do the same thing as do with a laptop. You have to take them out of your bag and put them in a separate little plastic bin so they can be screened separately from your carry-on bag. The only exception is if you're doing the pre-check, you can still keep that stuff in your bag, because in order to do pre-check, you have to go through extra vetting through TSA, and they do background checks and all that. 'Cause I've gone through pre-check, and I don't know what they do, but they cleared me, so I guess I'm good. But by going through that procedure, you can keep your liquids in your bag, and you don't have to take your shoes off and your belt off, and you can leave your electronics in your bag. Cool. So, but that's a small subset of travel. That's more your business travelers. But the Joe Q public doesn't travel too often, probably doesn't use pre-check. And they're going to be affected by this. But they've been testing this in about 10 airports, but they're getting ready to roll it out to major airports here. I guess it's happening now. And they've got people there to help you. It's probably the TSA agent yelling at you, take your devices out of your... I'm sorry, I've had some bad experience with yelling TSA agents, but never here in the South. It was in, I would say it was somewhere up north. Just I don't want to pick on a particular airport. Yeah. Some of my friends know what airport it is, and I'll just leave it at that. So, anyway,
I'll tell you, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, I agree. I think it's a good thing.
Laptop could be anything.
Because they were banning the laptops from the foreign countries to be in your bag, and that created more of a risk. And I wish we'd had somebody from like one of the aviation podcasts tell us about it. But basically, those lithium-ion batteries that they can have thermal runaway, and it's much better to have that in the passenger compartment where it can be detected and dealt with right then than be down there in the cargo hold with a bunch of other laptops. I'm glad they went this way. I think it's going to keep the traveling public even safer, not just from terrorism, but from the inadvertent, lithium-ion battery that goes amok.
Especially the certain brands.
Yeah, like the cheap knockoff Chinese, Japanese, or whatever. The Segways used and all that.
So coming up next, we're going to turn the show completely over to Josh in our dose.
Get ready, Josh. It's going to be yours.
Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
You've listened this long, so stick around for our dose.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. With Senate debate continuing on elements of a plan to replace President Obama's health care law, Senator Lindsey Graham has come out saying he'll vote yes on a so-called skinny repeal, which would do away with the requirement people buy health insurance, among other things. However, Graham, along with Senators Ron Johnson and John McCain, say they do not support the bill as it stands. On Capitol Hill, Graham saying they need assurances from the House leadership there will be a conference to actually come up with a plan to replace the Affordable Care Act.
Not only do we not replace Obamacare, we politically own the collapse of health care. I'd rather get out of the way and let it collapse than have a half-ass approach where it is now our problem.
House Speaker Paul Ryan tonight granted the assurance of a conference committee. GOP leaders have been negotiating to try to come up with a plan that can secure enough votes to pass. Lawmakers in the Senate have approved a package of stiff financial sanctions against Russia, Iran, and North Korea. NPR's Jeff Bennett says the measure passed 98-2 with overwhelming support.
The legislation imposes tougher financial penalties over Russia's involvement in eastern Ukraine, its cyber attacks, and its human rights violations. The bill limits President Trump's authority to unilaterally waive the Russia sanctions. It also punishes Iran and North Korea for their weapons programs. The House passed the bill earlier this week by a vote of 419-3. It heads next to the president's desk for a signature.
NPR's Jeff Bennett. Russian President Vladimir Putin has continually denied reports by U.S. intelligence officials that Russia sought to meddle in the 2016 presidential election. Palestinian health officials say a 26-year-old Palestinian has died of wounds sustained in a clash with Israeli forces this week. Tensions, meanwhile, remain high as Israeli police and Palestinians confront each other at a location revered by both Muslims and Jews. NPR's Daniel Estrin reports.
The Palestinian Health Ministry said the Palestinian died following a clash with Israeli forces in the West Bank 3 days ago. Late Thursday, thousands of Muslims streamed to the Al-Aqsa Mosque for prayers on the hilltop known to Jews as the Temple Mount. They had held prayers in the streets for nearly 2 weeks, protesting metal detectors Israel installed at the site after a deadly shooting. Israel removed the metal detectors and security equipment from the site. President Trump's Mideast envoy, Jason Greenblatt, applauded Israel for taking steps to calm tensions, but clashes near the site have continued. Daniel Estrin, NPR News, Jerusalem.
More people were filing first-time jobless claims last week. The Labor Department reports initial claims for unemployment benefits rose by 10,000 to a seasonally adjusted 244,000. It was the largest weekly increase in benefit filings since late May. After a record run-up, stocks paused for a breather in some cases today. The Dow up 85 points. The Nasdaq closed down 40 points. This is NPR.
Technologic.
Trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip and zip it, lock it, fill it.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show hour.
Dose.
Join us, and I welcome back in for this hour dose, the guru.
Yes, I'm here.
And, of course, our special guest host, Josh.
That's right.
Who
Josh
is
Shakalaka.
who is from the Oxford area.
Yeah, so you got your fan club.
That's it.
That's the fan club?
Yeah.
And, well, he's really being second run here because he needs one that goes, woo! Like Apple.
Yeah.
Oh, I still got to get that.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! Everything was like, I mean, the whole thing, I say it again, the whole thing was like watching people ride a Six Flags ride.
Woo!
Which I'll have to go do tomorrow. But anyway, that's
I'm jealous. I really want to
I'm
go to
not.
Six Flags because you realize, like the Georgia Cyclone, they're about to shut that thing down forever.
Yes,
I
The
didn't realize
30th is the last day it's going to run. So, Michael, make sure you ride the Georgia Cyclone.
I won't debate it.
Especially on your birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh,
That's right.
By the way, it was Bruce's birthday this
Yeah,
week.
Bruce's birthday was a couple days ago, so
Yeah.
happy belated birthday to Bruce. And Michael's birthday is tomorrow.
Yes, 45.
Happy birthday a day
Big
early,
45.
Michael.
Hopefully I'll live through Six Flags at 45.
You will. Just don't ride Superman twice in a row. Don't ride
Yeah.
don't ride Goliath twice in a row. I made that mistake on Goliath twice in a row, and it kind of got to me a little bit, but I was fine after a few minutes. But my friend that was with me, he was done for several hours after Goliath 2 times in a row.
That's a big coaster.
If you're a huge fan with the Hey Techie Show, but you don't normally listen live, and you do listen to the Rewind Show on Sundays, we profusely apologize for the technical problem. But
we had a
unfortunately,
hard disk drive.
unfortunately for us, that technical problem will continue through the weekend at best, and maybe several weeks. So we don't really know how that's going to work out yet, or what. But anyway, long story short, the product that runs that system is called Encode. ENCO. Okay. Encode. And it's been going for a long time. It's actually basically like a rack unit PC. And ironically, it's been going for about 10 years nonstop.
Wow.
Never turned off or rebooted, except for when they had some power issues.
Yeah.
But over the weekend, the hard drive gave up the ghost. And it's been very difficult. Ironically, long story short, not really anyone to blame, although some people probably blame themselves, unfortunately. We didn't have a good backup of that. It was difficult to get a backup of this particular hardware configuration. I'm not saying it was impossible. It just didn't happen. So that led to this issue. And the here's the gist of it. The product is so old that the company that sells the product doesn't want to support the OS that would go back on it. Not the OS, but the software, because it's Windows 2000, by the way. Is the OS. But the software, the company wants nothing to do with, and won't even give our university help on maybe getting back, at least getting us back to that piece of software.
That version.
They want to sell a whole new box.
Well,
At the end of the day, you're looking at right at $2,000.
Ooh, just for the
computer and the software and everything that would do this system, right? And then we might still have to change some things here at the station just to accommodate that.
Yeah,
because some of the equipment has changed and whatnot. So it's something that hopefully will get resolved in one form or fashion. Not sure going forward what that's going to happen, but everything they've reached out to so far to try to resolve that company has wanted nothing to do with it.
They just want to sell.
Yeah, sell you something else.
Yeah, I get it, and I see their side of it.
Well,
but it is very frustrating. And
yeah, it is.
You know, you would, pardon me. It would be fine for one way to look at it if it was a station that was making plenty of profit, you know, and could afford to put money back for these type of upgrades or investment into it. But that's not the case. This is not a for-profit.
It's a non-for-profit.
It looks like to me, and they probably make they probably make a good business on both sides of that. They probably deal with a lot of stations like this.
Right.
But anyway, that's just a little bit of backstory. So if you're wanting to know why maybe your program is not running on the weekend, that's the situation here at the station.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but we are hoping it will be resolved during the summer. Well, what's left of it, because fall is fast approaching.
Yep,
And,
it is.
So
I know the football players are back on campus.
yes, that's right.
And I think next week's the 1st of August. Marching Southerners, towards the end of the week, will be back. Southerners band camp will be here, and a few more weeks later, classes will be starting.
Well, Josh had put a little article in the show notes we have about a little situation with Walmart and pre-orders. Apparently didn't go too well, as I understand. So what's with that, Josh?
I opened the article. I don't think
I think I found it,
Yeah.
but that's
Oh,
but
okay.
Josh
I
can-
thought,
you
I
put
thought
that in
you
there.
put
but
it
Josh
on
can
here.
Josh can take all the credit.
Yeah, I did read up on it, and it is very, very sad event. You know, a lot of people.
Well,
pre-order.
Oh
I've
no!
I've got a sound. clip
Oh,
for
if
that.
it's a sad event.
Such a sad situation.
You know what is good about it?
What's that?
Anybody that pre-ordered with a credit card got their refund pretty much immediately.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so for those who do not know, so apparently Walmart accidentally put pre-orders for the SNES Classic, which is all these games. I think we talked about it on the show, but they had the Nintendo Classic last year. Well, now they got the Super Nintendo Classic this coming year, this holiday season. Well, Walmart made the mistake of putting it out on their website too early. People figured it out and started pre-ordering it, and they put it out there too prematurely. And now they've decided, well, we're going to cancel all those pre-orders.
It's kind of like an error, you know.
Yeah, we're sorry. So this is not legit. So orders being canceled.
They
It
should
shouldn't have been out there yet.
Yeah, they should have just, if you pre-ordered it, they should have just gave you the option to keep your pre-order and just know you're going to wait a little bit longer, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
more power to them.
The quote here from a release from Walmart spokesperson, Danette Marquardt, I guess, in a statement given to The Verge. Unfortunately, due to a technical glitch, our page for the Super Nintendo Classic Edition mistakenly launched on Friday evening ahead of the official release date. We have sent cancellations to all customers to order them. We know this is incredibly disappointing to those customers, and we apologize for the mistake. We will update our site as soon as possible. We'll update our site as soon as product becomes available. Walmart did not charge those. This is not the quote now. This is The Verge saying Walmart did not charge customers who purchase via credit card. The retailer, like many others, only does so when the item ships. So they probably did a pre-authorization hold on that card, I know a little bit about how that works. So they canceled them and they just let the hold go away.
Okay.
So now if
That makes more sense.
if you'd have done it on, it says those who purchased with PayPal or with a gift card and had the amount withdrawn from their accounts are getting refunds. So yeah, so if you had it taken away through other means, they go ahead and pull that money off. So they'll allocate it like with PayPal or gift cards, but they're working on getting your money back. And it says also this article, it's unclear how many orders Walmart accepted in the small window of time Friday when the coveted throwback mini console was available. They got that in air quotes, or I got it in my air quotes. But those who did notice that the page for the SNES Classic was put live starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern time is what the reports are. And they were able to put their credit card order and even got a confirmed October 6th arrival date. So
I got a theory.
they got all the way through checkout, got their confirmation. Some of these folks that ordered it right when it came available, and then they get somebody on Twitter posted
I've got a theory.
the email they got saying, sorry, we canceled your order. Go ahead.
I've got a theory.
What's your theory?
I've got a theory that Walmart had to pull this.
They probably got in trouble from the Nintendo folks because I know.
I tell you why they got in trouble. It's down here if you just read in between the lines.
What does it say?
It says down here that Nintendo has opened pre-orders for the device overseas, including Amazon UK. I'll bet you that they had some deal that certain pre-order times could only be opened by certain companies for a certain time frame.
I don't think it's company. I think it's geographic regions. I would think if pre-orders are allowed in the U.S., it's all U.S. retailers that are going to take pre-orders.
Well, no, whoa.
I don't think they're...
Whoa. We backing up here. We
Amazon UK.
We backing up here because I know for a fact that certain iPhones only sold on AT&T pre-order and for a while,
right?
And then Verizon got them later, and then Verizon had Moto X's pre-ordered, and AT&T didn't have it. So this does happen.
No, listen, Michael.
I know what you're saying about the region.
What you're saying is some companies could pre-order and some did not pre-order at all.
Yeah, I think that some.
What you're saying with the whole Amazon UK is they pre-order at different times. I don't buy that.
Well, that's fine, but I think this has something to do with Amazon making a deal with Nintendo, and they're the only ones that can pre-order.
And that may be true.
That's what I'm getting at.
If Walmart didn't, it's not going to do pre-orders at all.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but they beat their date that they're allowed to.
I know a lot of that's embargoed, and
Well, anyway, that's my theory.
But
too restricted, really.
Well, that can be your theory.
Well, good. I'm glad you allow me to be my theory.
Of course.
I'm gonna go over here and cry during the break.
Well, go cry.
Oh, you'll be all right.
There's corner.
Feelings are hurt. I'm gonna go get a lawyer and a judge. Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
No representation is made that the opinions of hosts here are better than those of the average tech show, but we think so.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladica Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
Welcome back into the Hey Techies Show. And if you want to be on the Hey Techies Show, 256-782.
5600.
And you can talk to Josh.
Yeah.
I'm here all night.
Well, you'll have to lock the place up.
Okay.
I'm not here all night.
Well, I'll tell you what. Till 9 o'clock I'll be here.
Till 9 o'clock, yeah.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah, Josh brought up something interesting right before we came on. That's why we were kind of playing the bumper a little bit longer. I wonder when Walmart is really going to open up pre-orders, the real pre-order date, because this article from The Verge has no mention of that.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm because basically it says, hey, there is no pre-order date. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying, because actually they don't have long, according to this. September 29th is the release date. They've only got 2 months, technically, starting Saturday.
And they may not be doing pre-orders for this. But thing is, if the system allowed pre-orders, you would think it would be a pre-order date.
I believe there will be, is my guess, but
not today.
Not today.
Or tomorrow.
This is a legal thing. Somebody messed up, like the
and
guru said in the break. Basically, the street date. Somebody got messed up on release date, and it got released as pre-order, and they're not allowed to do pre-order at this time.
And they had no choice because they were legally obligated.
Correct. I think that's what it is.
Contractually obligated. If
otherwise, they wouldn't tick off their
their customers.
I don't think
Walmart or any company, for that matter, is going to intentionally make customers mad at them. I mean,
no.
That's not in the best practice of any business.
Now, they might have a disgruntled employee that does that.
Well,
that happens, but not the corporate would.
Right. So, well, how about this?
Yes. While I get this one together, how about what you're talking
JCPenney.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, they've been struggling with.
Yes.
I know we've lost a couple of stores. I think there's one up the road in Gaston that's closing, but they've not been doing too well to the .coms of the world, the Amazons of the world, we'll just say. But here's interesting. I just thought this was interesting. I found this earlier this week. But JCPenney now accepts Apple Pay nationwide, and it integrates with its own credit card and loyalty program. I didn't know they even had a loyalty program, but apparently they do. So, American department store chain JCPenney announced on Monday that it now accepts Apple Pay at all its stores across the United States. The retailer said Apple Pay in the JCPenney app for iPhone and iPad is coming soon as well.
That's cool.
So, have you ever used Apple Pay, Josh?
Well, I had an Apple Watch, and I tried to set up the Apple Pay, but none of my debit.
None of your cards supported it? Yeah, I've only got set up on one of my cards, but I will say, doing Apple Pay with the watch is more clunky than doing it with the phone.
Is it?
Because my phone does support the NFC. So I tend to, when I use Apple Pay the few retailers actually accept it, not Walmart. We've talked about that on the show before. Walmart's never going, they're never going to accept it, but that's neither here nor there at this point. But I'm just more apt, and I've tried it both ways, but I'm more apt now just to pull my phone out of my pocket, hold it, put it up near the reader, Touch ID, done. It's just clunky to have to go in here and tap and put it up there. I mean, it's not natural.
Yeah,
it's natural. Just put your phone up to the reader, and a lot of times you get it right there close to it. It'll automatically pull that screen up once your fingerprint. Boom, done. And here's what's funny. A couple months ago, I used Apple Pay. I can't remember where, but I did it, and the cashier was like, "Oh, I've never seen that done before. That was cool."
I'm actually going to go set it up now, or try and set it up again now that we're talking about it. It's one of those things that.
Yeah, and of course your card has to support it.
Yeah.
And I know more and more are on there, but I think this was interesting that according to this, they also started testing the Apple Pay in a Dallas-Fort Worth area in late 2015. So they had a small, I guess, test program, and now they've rolled it out nationwide. And they're also JCPenney is joining retailers like Kohl's and Walgreens with Apple Pay support for store-branded credit cards and customer loyalty programs. I didn't realize that Walgreens had some integration with Apple Pay and customer loyalty program. I know I can speak for Walgreens because I do shop there on a rare occasion, but Walgreens has the card like everybody else just about does, where you got your, if you have your card, you can get special deals and points and all that. And I can't stand those little fobs on your key with all the barcodes, so I always put them in the wallet app. And I'll just pull my wallet app, go to my whatever store I'm in, and just give them the barcode and let the cashier scan it off the phone. But I know it worked on Apple Pay, but apparently it does.
So what they're saying is when you use Apple Pay, it's like not only do you pay for it, but you're using your loyalty card as well at the same time. Is that what
I'm assuming it is. I mean, it doesn't really go into detail here, But there's a quote here. It says JCPenney point-of-sale registers now process all Apple Pay supported credit and debit bank cards, including the company's credit card and co-branded MasterCard, both issued by Synchrony Bank and available to use with Apple Pay. So it's not just they accept Apple Pay for any Apple Pay supported card, but also now their own branded cards. They have a MasterCard and like a store card. They work with Apple Pay as well at JCPenney.
Maybe you can put your store card into your phone, like your points card, and scan it,
Right.
and then pay.
It says customers simply add their JCPenney credit card as a payment option to Apple Pay using the Wallet or Apple Watch app on their phone. Plus, coming soon, customers with JCPenney app on their iPhone or iPad will have the option to complete their purchase using Apple Pay. Okay. It really don't talk about loyalty cards, but I don't know.
I see now. Makes sense.
That's interesting. So, but again, we've talked about this before on the show. In order for this to become widely adopted, there's got to be one standard. And you can't have Apple Pay here and Android doing something different and XYZ company doing something different. And I don't want to pick on Walmart, but Walmart's made it very clear they're doing their own thing. That does not work. You've got to standardize it.
You do.
You do. I mean, you've got to standardize on one platform. And I mean, I think you could do as far as maybe the Android Pay and the Apple Pay. That's a stretch because Apple Pay is never going to play nice with Android, nor is Android never going to play nice with Apple. But you can't have, your own proprietary payment, cardless payment system. The thing with the...
Well, you can.
You can, but it's just you don't have the consumer in mind, and it's not going to be successful. Because scanning those darn QR codes at Walmart with Walmart Pay is the most pain in the tail. I've tried it. I do not like it. I really pull on my credit card. I do not like it. So you're trying to hold your phone up to the, it's like scanning a QR code, on the wall or something.
I'll tell you what I think.
Tell me what you think.
I think that you are correct. However, I'll give a caveat.
Okay, go for it.
It would work if it worked excellent and people would enjoy using product X. Okay, so because at one time, Amazon was not a big company. But because they have made a niche for themselves in selling everybody a cheap product, some of them good products, some of them not. We've had that discussion before. But
some not cheap. Some not cheap.
Some not cheap. But some poorly made in a cheap price. Some okay made in a decent price. Okay. But at one time, Amazon was not this big, huge billion-dollar company. Okay. But if Walmart could come up with, even if it's proprietary, but it worked smoothly, it worked absolutely amazingly, it was the best payment experience you had done, and it has to simplify what you're doing.
Right.
It cannot be clunky.
Yeah.
It cannot be cumbersome. It cannot be the first thing you think about. I don't want to put this on my phone. So it can't be any of that.
It's got to be simple.
It's got to be.
Everybody's going to be able to do it.
Right, I know y'all have said that, but my point is it can be done.
Yeah.
They just haven't done it.
And they tried that with that currency. They tried to create their own system.
I know. And
it did not work. Nobody would get on board.
I do agree that they probably should get on board with something like Apple Pay or something that's already a proven thing. The problem with that is then you have Android devices, so you're going to have to deal with the other side of that if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Which you can do.
Yeah.
But here like you were saying, or you were pointing out, that it's just a hodgepodge of different things. There's just not going to be a standard to really use.
Yeah. And this stuff needs to happen, I think, before the whole you getting credit card stolen. Like chip cards are helping because they're harder to recreate, but it's still a static token number, whatever value that identifies that card to you that's on that chip. But it's very difficult. It's more difficult to clone and make copies if you were to intercept that information If you got my information off my card, it's harder, Josh, for you to make a copy of that. Not to say you would, but
Yeah, absolutely.
mag stripes are old technology. I mean, they've been around for 40+ years. So the chip cards are definitely a help. But again, it's the same thing. It's an identifier that can't be changed. And if it gets compromised, all they can do is reissue. They can cancel that number and give you another one. But what I'm getting to is this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think we've talked about this with the Android Pay. I'm not an expert on Android Pay. I know Bruce is, but I think I'm correct by saying that and Apple Pay, when you pay with those, you're sending a one-time token,
Yes.
a one-time number.
Yeah, I think that's right.
To the merchant. And even if that got intercepted or they were storing it, because they probably do store it because they can use that token to credit you back. But
right.
even if that number got compromised and somebody got a hold of it and tried to use it, it won't work because it's for one-time payment.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's what I think is huge about these NFC payments, like Apple Pay, like Android Pay. It's going to protect the consumer in the long run. Because the whole thing, I personally don't recommend using debit cards, especially at gas pumps, and we'll talk about that later. We got a story about that. But other places, because if that number gets compromised on that debit card, they could drain your account. Now, most banks are going to put it back within a few days, but what do you do in the meantime? You have no money. Credit cards, you have a little more buffer. You can kind of write it to the bill, and you can let them know if you see your bill, this ain't mine, and they'll put that temporary hold while they check into it and all that. It's a little bit, you have a little more protection with credit cards. But with a debit card, with Apple Pay or whatever, with that one-time token, you're a whole lot better off. And that's where we've got to go. And it goes back to, this grinds my gears. I'm going to go ahead and say this.
Oh, here we go. Gear grinding.
These merchants that have the readers, like they're the customer-facing little swipe things when you go to checkout, and they'll have you're now accustomed to the ones where they have the chip, place you put your chip in, the chip and dips, I call it. But a lot of times you'll stick it in there and they're like, oh, we don't take chips. You have to swipe it. Like, And a lot of them have gotten, they've taped it off. They have a little sign like,
please swipe.
Yeah, please swipe, or we don't have chip cards yet. I'm sorry.
That's another thing. They should either all get on it or nobody gets on it.
Well, I know right now, if I'm not mistaken, like if merchants and probably not the merchant itself, but more like their processor, but probably the merchant too. I think if they're not using chip cards, they can get, and it's going to hurt them if there was any kind of fraudulent activity. I think it could come back and the issuing bank's going to say, well, good luck. We ain't giving you the money back.
That's fair.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm not an expert on PCI compliance or all the payment card industry stuff, but I know they've been making that push, and I know of people that accept credit cards. They've had to buy new hardware because their processor that they're using for credit card payments now requires it. So you have to go out and purchase a reader that supports chip cards, because you don't want to be in a situation where you have a fraudulent card used, and then you're just out the money because they're going to take it away from you because they pay the customer back, and they're not going to assume that loss. So anyway, did I give you enough time? Did I stall enough for you, or you need more? I can't hear you.
Rumors.
Oh, rumors.
You need it. I sent you a text.
Oh, I didn't get it.
Our
so
in-text chatting is not working.
I ain't got it pulled up. I'm not a good lip reader.
Well, now we're telling behind the scenes of the Hey Techies Show, where the sauce is made.
That's right. I think a couple of yours, Michael, this week. You trying to take over the segment?
I got one.
Oh, you got one?
I don't know about the others.
Oh, that's right. The other three are mine. You want to start, or you want me to start?
Well, I can't get mine to pull up.
Okay, I'll start.
Something weird.
Another week, another iPhone rumor.
Shocking.
Shocker, right? We're within. I guess it's September when they're usually start announcing this stuff, but today's latest Apple iPhone rumor is the Apple iPhone 8 might not ship until late 2017. Side button, we already talked about the late 2017 date, but also side button Touch ID is unlikely. So Apple's radically redesigned iPhone 8 is expected to be introduced in September. We've already said that, alongside a standard 7S iPhone and 7S Plus. But it may not start shipping out to consumers until October or early November, according to a new report from Japanese site Mac Atakra. And I probably butchered that name. I'm sorry. So we've been talking about these delays because there's speculation that Apple was late finalizing the hardware on the iPhone 8, so that's slowed up production. So it's kind of pushed everything back. So if you want the new iPhone 8, be ready to wait, folks. It may come out in September, but I think it's, even if it becomes available to purchase in October, I feel like it's going to be very limited supplies. It may not be till the first of next year before there's adequate quantities to where if you order it, they can get it to you within a day or two. But that won't stop people from buying it. I can assure you there.
It will not.
And of course, this the site also has some sources that say they've only seen a front display panel component in black, and that's suggesting that the iPhone 8 may only release in black initially. And previous rumors had also suggested it may be available in a limited number of colors, with white unconfirmed. So this may just be a black only iPhone. It may be back to the old days of the iPhone. You can have it in any color as long as it's black. Which this iPhone 8 again, we've had other rumors about it being a $1,200 device too. So it's gonna
That's crazy.
There's no way.
I would not pay for it.
There's no
Sorry.
way.
And there's also been this whole speculation about Touch ID and removing the home button and all this. And apparently we missed this rumor, but there was talk about the Touch ID sensor being on the side, like on the side where the sleep button is.
Yes. Well, that would be interesting.
But this squashes that rumor. It's looking more like reports are suggesting that Touch ID is built into the display or removed entirely. Which again, we're seeing a theme here. The Touch ID on the side, I missed that one. I apologize to my listeners for that, our listeners. But again, it's either going, and again, we don't know. Either Touch ID will be built into the screen if they figured that out. Samsung, of course, we talked about before, they had trouble with that, or it'll be gone because Apple, somebody at Apple said, Johnny Ive's like, we can't put that on the back of the phone. They don't want to yet copy Android again.
That's a good choice too. That's just, in my opinion, that's ugly. That's a bad design, in my opinion.
Oh, put it on the back. I agree with you.
I don't
think
like that at all.
Yeah, now Bruce would disagree with both of us, but that's okay, Bruce. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. So, and I've got an Android device at work I use for testing, and it's on the back, and it's in a good location, but it's just, I'm just so used to it where it's out on the front. So we'll see. September will be here before we know it, and we'll see what actually happens with this whole Touch ID. Does it stay? Does it go? Where's it at? Is it built into the screen? Is it facial recognition instead? That's been another rumor.
It's the first thing I'm kind of excited about figuring out what they're going to do here because it's.
I know it is because I mean this Apple iPhone 8 is going to be revolutionary. But it's going to be expensive as all get out. But one thing that this is kind of an aside, but I think I've talked about this on the show. Like my Apple iPhone is like 2.5+ years old, and like. The battery's showing its age. And I mean, you can get the battery replaced, but like I think it's time for me to upgrade devices. And I'm going to wait for this announcement to see what happens. But I saw a rumor, I read this today, but it's an old rumor we missed. But apparently there's rumors pointing to, right now, let me back up. The iPhone 7, you can get the dual lens model as the plus, the large screen model only. And that supports telephoto lens and some cool effects you can do. Which is supposed to be I've seen pictures taken with the 7 Plus.
Yes.
And with the dual lens iPhone camera on the 7 Plus, and it's amazing. And I really want that, but I don't want the big screen at this point in my life because I can still read the screen very well. And I don't want a phablet in my pocket. Man, that's just my personal preference. But apparently there's rumors pointing to the iPhone 7S, which is the same size as the 7, but having the dual lens camera.
That would be ideal.
And if that's the case, that's what I'm going to get. So I'll be waiting with bated breath for September to come to see what actually happens.
It would be nice if anybody that works at Apple happened to be listening and iPhone SE2, the size of the SE with the specs of the 7S would be perfect.
Yeah, I know Tim Cook listens.
Cool.
He's an Auburn graduate, so I know he listens to.
Hook us up. I'll buy one.
Yeah. Hey.
That's one sold right there.
So there you go. You got one sold. So you like that smaller size screen?
I do. It's all I like to do is text occasionally, answer it, call. Sometimes I watch videos, but I could see a bigger screen if you were into the multimedia, like.
So you don't do a whole lot of gaming on your phone, playing games?
I don't really. If I do, it's nothing that requires a big screen.
Okay.
So mainly it's I stream music. I'll watch a video every now and then, but it's just
it's a tool for you. Send messages, you take calls, and you're done.
And with the smaller phones too, I've noticed I don't drop it often, but with the bigger phone, if you drop it, it seems like it's more vulnerable to break. In my opinion,
Well, it's a larger surface area, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So these seem very sturdy, but
yeah,
I prefer the smaller phone.
So Michael, you ready, or you want me to keep going?
Well, it finally got Apple Insider back up.
Uh-oh.
But I couldn't get the website was.
So here's another article. This is not Apple related. Well, not all Apple related, but apparently there's a new USB spec coming. USB 3.2. It will support multi-lane operation. So there's USB-C's been out a while, but single connector charge, transfer data, which is nice, I think, but there's some, I guess, some drawbacks to it, but the USB 3.2 specification is supposed to help with that. I lost my place in here. I actually read this before the show. That's a shocker to most of our listeners. But anyway, the USB 3.2 standard will support multi-lane operations, which will allow devices to transfer multiple lanes of data at the same time. It'll be way faster, as the article says, almost twice the current speed of the USB 3.0 standard, allowing either 2 lanes of 5 gigabit per second or 2 lanes of 10 gigabit per second transfer rates.
Wow, that's fast.
The problem with this new specification is the requirement of new hardware. So they can't just put like a firmware update on the device. There's actually hardware involved with this spec. So, of course, device manufacturers will have to incorporate this in their devices in order for you to be able to take advantage of it. Although you'll notice improved transfer rates, even if your device incorporates the older generation USB-C ports. Okay. The new specs are expected to be finalized by the end of this year. And Tech Geeks, the article I'm reading this from, says, stay tuned for updates. So we'll try to keep you updated here on the Hey Techies show as well. So what do you think about the USB 3.2? Is that too fast for you, Michael?
I don't. Well, let's see. Seeing how I don't personally have anything with USB-C.
I don't either.
Is that what you refer to? USB-C?
It's right? USB-C, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had that kind of dough.
I know Bruce would probably be happy about it.
Sure, I'm ecstatic about it.
Woo! So we got that one, and we also got this one. So Apple, there's a rumor here that they're working on an augmented reality headset.
Ooh.
Rumor, this is from VRFocus.com. I've never heard of this site, but it came across my Twitter feed this week. So rumors that Apple are planning. I think that's Apple is planning. I'm not the best at it.
I noticed that.
Apple are planning, but I need an English teacher to help correct this. Anyway, Apple planning on releasing a VR headset have circulated for years since Apple's announcement. It was working on integrating VR and augmented reality with its iPhone 8. That was part of that with the WWDC conference. They kind of showed a demo of that with we talked about it on the show where you could hold your phone up to a table and there'd be some object on the table and you can manipulate the object, through the augmented reality.
Or play a game.
Last month, there was a leak by a Foxconn employee that suggested Apple was working on something called Project Mirror Shades, which is allegedly a set of AR glasses similar to the recently resurrected Google Glass. And a recent report by Bloomberg only strengthened this claim with rumors that hundreds of engineers are working on the AR product. They got a little picture here, like a prototype. I don't know if this is a patent application or what, but there's a little figure 4 here. It shows kind of like looks more like a HoloLens to me than Google Glass, according to this little figure. But anyway, so apparently Apple's working on a lot of stuff. They're working on the car. They're working on this. They're working on, Apple worked on the iPhone for 2 years before they announced it. So
right,
that's true.
So anyway, so that's just something else we'll kind of add to the rumor mill, more of a long-term rumor, because hopefully Apple will wait and get this right before they release it. They don't have Steve Jobs anymore because he was adamant about that. But anyway, Besides the point. Did you get your thing to pull up, Michael? You did?
Well, when we come back,
Guess not.
it's not worth even covering, Guru. I think it's pointless.
Pointless.
Yes.
Nothing is pointless that you bring up.
When we come back, this week in tech history.
HeyTechiesShow.com. Open 24/7, as long as we don't forget to pay the bill.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladica Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
You're listening to the Hey Techies Show on WLJS Jacksonville.
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show.
So you gonna get into his car? Said get into my car.
Yeah,
Probably not the best idea.
not now.
Not now.
Not even sure ever, but definitely not in this day and age.
I agree with you there.
I'm just thankful my vehicle works.
Yeah.
Did have to get a new washer over the weekend.
Oh.
Actually, yesterday I had to
Oh.
wait on it at the house.
I'm sorry.
That was an odd thing too.
The
Probably
what?
not worth on the air, but was an odd thing about setting that up.
Really?
I would have never thought that you had to explain to the delivery people the exact directions to your house. As in,
Like,
turn on this road, left,
and go this far.
and that name of that road. Turn on that road.
well, we have
So-
things.
so-
We have a fancy device called a GPS.
So me and my wife in this weird conversation with,
Yeah.
with a salesperson. I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. I'm thinking.
So this is at the store when you're purchasing
yes.
it, and they're asking you for
Yes,
directions.
Yes, I'm like Google Maps, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, put in directions. Use
mean,
Google Maps, and you put in this address, and it'll take you there.
Well, anyway, it was bizarre. I didn't really, but I guess it's the way it works. Man, that's how they do it. So anyway, here they got it. It's good. We can now wash clothes.
Yay!
All
Wash
good.
clothes.
Yeah.
I know that makes you
Yes, but
excited.
anyway.
Can't beat a
Well,
new washer.
at this time,
Did you get a smart washer?
I hope not. I got the one we could afford, and it wasn't too complicated to work.
Well, I will say this. This is an aside again, but this is from a person who I knew. I used to know. I don't know if he's still living. Unfortunately, it was a long time ago. It's kind of from my parents too. Like he told my parents, and they told me, never get a washing machine with all these extra features and extra cycles, especially if you're not going to use it, because it's just more to tear up. Get the simple washer, which is kind of hard to. I think the government's kind of got involved about water consumption. So, if you got one of those old school,
of course.
if you got an old school washer, this is Guru's tip of the night. If you have an old school washer, I would hold on to that until it literally falls apart, and you can't fix it.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
And I've got
And
one.
I wanted to.
I've got one of those, and like the transmission went out a couple years ago, and I had it replaced because I was not getting rid of it. And the guy came to repair it. Said, "Oh, you got one of these good washers. Don't ever get rid of it." This is a different repair person. He's like, "Oh, you want to keep this one?" And of course, somebody else at the house wanted to get the fancy one, and I told them that. Like, oh, okay, because the guy was saying like they don't get your clothes as clean as well, and there's just problems. Anyway, I'm sorry.
like you
I'm
said.
I'm getting off on a tangent because we got a very important thing to do right now.
Well, I don't know about important.
It is important. Maybe not to Michael.
It's about important as making fun of me eventually.
No.
Making a joke
No.
of Michael not being able to know tech history.
The last couple times you've done it, Michael, you have done very well.
Oh, yeah. It's just lucky.
You got this.
Just lucky.
See,
well, I appreciate
see,
that.
see,
appreciate that, John.
Oh, yeah.
You got the
so,
support of your other two co-hosts.
so at this time, we turn the show over to the aforementioned guru for this week in tech history.
Yep. It is that time of the week. So for those of you who may be new to the show, because I know Josh brought a lot of new listeners, and so thank you for that,
Absolutely,
Josh.
no problem. Anytime.
We started this a long time ago. We didn't start with episode 1. We've been doing this probably close to a long time. Let's say that.
Long enough.
And I thought it was kind of interesting to bring this kind of history lesson in, and then we kind of turned into a game with Bruce. The first couple show I just shared it. It was all fine and dandy. We went on with about our day, but then we had the bright idea.
Bruce, he wanted to guess it anyway.
Yeah. So now what I do is kind of almost like Jeopardy. Where Jeopardy, they give you the answer, and you got to answer. You got to give the question. I give just the date, and usually Bruce is the one having to guess what the event happened on that date. But Bruce is not here tonight, so
There's
Michael
so much
has to pinch
stuff,
hit.
too. Trying to figure this
Michael's
out.
a pinch hitter tonight for Bruce. But I will say this: you've done very well for yourself, Michael.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, that last week.
Just
nailed
guess
it.
it. Just guess it.
See Josh. He's like nailed it.
Yeah, I know.
What was the Apple Cube thing?
That's stupid.
Yeah, the G4 cube.
That
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
cube.
but you got it right.
Yeah,
All right. So you ready for your date?
I guess.
Well, at least you didn't say no like Bruce does. Bruce like, no, I'm not.
Well, I mean, might as well get it out.
Okay,
Of the way.
so your date is July 25th, 2008. July 25th, 2008. These near-term ones these are the harder ones to get. If I go way back to 1900, there's not much tech back then.
Oh, good grief! Something was announced or released, or
Isn't that about 50% of tech
no,
is announced and
but
released stuff?
It was. It wasn't in 2008.
Yeah, July 25th. It was 2 days ago, multiple years ago.
That date does ring a bell. Even to me, I cannot think of what it is, but
It was a great day, wasn't it?
seems like it.
I don't know.
So you wanna guess, Josh, just for fun?
Does
Not
this-
put you on the
what-
spot, but
What do you think it might be?
I'm ready to hear what you have to say.
It's up to you, Michael. It's up to you.
I almost want to say something to do with Apple, but it's like that was last week, so it's probably not right.
Well, you trying to read into my thoughts now. I see.
Do you like radio, Josh?
I do.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
You like listening to radio. I like radio too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Well, this is a radio show
I know.
on a radio
but,
station.
but if this radio show could have been back a few more years, we might have been out on this product early on.
Maybe.
XM radio
You're right.
Wow.
released
Well,
That's a home run, I think.
to the masses.
No.
I would've
well,
never guessed it.
you said that and you messed it up. You should have said XM Radio, and I'd have gave you credit. The FCC announced on July 25th, 2008, the merger
merger.
Sirius
That's
and-
right.
of Sirius and
merger.
XM.
You're right. I did. It was the mergers.
the
I
merger
missed it. I
of the
missed
two
it.
companies, because I can say this back in,
You
I
had
know
to do
in
something to say something.
2003, I had XM Radio.
Yeah, that wasn't the birth of XM radio.
'Cause
You're
I
right.
was-
You're right.
I had
I
like
was
a-
away. The
at that-
merger.
I'd give it to you. That was a good guess.
No.
I'm gonna give it to you because I already
Merger.
I hit the applause clip,
I
so you
knew
get credit.
2008 couldn't be right for.
But it was a merger of
XM.
Sirius and XM to become Sirius XM. But yeah, I had satellite radio in 2003. I had a longer commute to work, and it was nice. They had
You still have satellite.
well, I have it now. Yeah, I got it back, but they had the best channel. And I know I'm such a nerd for saying this. They had CNET radio. That was the bomb diggity channel. And of course that went away a long time ago, and I was very, very sad that day. But that just shows how much of a nerd I was and still am today.
Yeah.
So
They had the what?
one of the channels on XM radio in the early days was CNET radio.
No. It was what?
The bomb diggity.
The bomb diggity.
Yeah. That's my term.
That reminds me of
I don't know if it's my turn, but I'm
Show title.
Tech TV.
Bomb. How do you spell bomb? Dig
we'll figure it out after the show.
He's about to copyright.
I love Tech TV too.
Tech TV was,
Tech TV was
Chris
awesome.
Perillo, back then.
Yes.
Dig. How would you do Diggity?
We'll talk about it after the show, but yeah, I love Tech TV.
Yeah,
Tech TV was awesome.
I used to love that show. I used to look forward to it every day.
Again, I'm nerding out. I apologize to probably half our listeners.
Isn't that what this
yeah,
show's about?
Somebody in the chat room saying such a nerd. Yes, and I know this person. You know I'm such a nerd. So yes, I am. This nerd has his own radio show. That's scary, right? I share it with other people, but anyway. So good job, Michael. Good job on the This Week in Tech History.
By the way, did you know that Jeff Bezos was, for a little while today, richer than Bill Gates?
I saw that.
The stock's back down now.
Yeah.
Almost back down. No, listen.
But for a short time, he was.
Listen, the stock's back down almost to $1,000. I mean, my goodness, $1,000 a share.
Man, that thing's tanking.
Yeah.
Man.
He was on at one point today, Guru. He was worth $92.3 billion.
Wow.
Which beats out Gates at 90 point something.
Man. That's crazy how
all right, Josh, you got anything some articles you wanted to get on before we have to close out this show? Got anything you want to talk about?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, I think we cleared it. The little chip thing was.
Oh, we got all his stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I had. Go ahead.
There's some crazy things. I mean, I've read a few, today, the past week and stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there, but off the top of my head, I don't really have anything.
Yeah, there's something I want to bring up, but I'm gonna push it to next week because
I've got one. I'm gonna push it to next week too.
It's gonna take too long to explain. We got 6 minutes left, so there's a teaser next week. We've got some really cool things to talk about next week, and Bruce will be back too, I think. And I know Bruce will like to chime in on mine. I don't know about yours, but here's a quick one. This is sort of tech because it's on the internet. So we talk about we have this joke. If it's on the internet, it's got to be true. Well, apparently a fake news story leaked on the internet saying that Weiss Lake, which is north of here, it's in northeast Alabama in Cherokee County, that they there was like a flesh eating
amoeba,
brain eating parasite in Weiss Lake. Well, it was on some website, and I saw people share it on Facebook, and I was like,
"Oh my goodness, you got to be careful about that."
But, again, you got to look at the source, but it was fake. It was fake news.
That's good to hear.
So I need to get this ready.
You are fake news.
So somebody called Donald Trump, tell him that was fake news. So he made sure to tell us.
You are fake news.
So that was fake news. Again, just as a reminder, just because it's on the internet, it's not necessarily true.
Guru, I got somewhere for you to go.
Oh, do you?
Yes. So you need to take a trip to round out your trips to Apple stores now. Coming up at some point, there is a story here that claims that Apple has finalized terms with Events DC. Apparently, they are the lease. I guess they take care of the leases for the portion of Carnegie Library.
Yeah.
At Mount Vernon Square. They're saying that
I haven't been there. I've been to Mount Vernon, but not Mount Vernon Square. I've been to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon
Square.
Mount Vernon is Washington D.C. George Washington's home.
Yes, correct.
Yep.
Mount Vernon Square. Anyway, but go ahead.
They're saying that Apple is going to lease approximately 19,000 square feet for a retail store.
Oh. I do want to get back to the D.C. area. I love the D.C. area. There's so much history there.
I need to check it out. I've always wanted to check it out.
Road trip. Hey, Techies road trip. Pull up the credit card, Michael. We'll do a show live from the National Mall or something. So I got this one. So Apple and Cochlear team up to roll out its first implant made for the iPhone. So in case you're not aware, Cochlear makes an implant for people who are are hard of hearing, and to the point to where like a hearing aid that you just put in your ear is not enough. They have to put an implant in you in order to
Implant now.
Yeah. So now they've built a new called the Cochlear Nucleus 7 sound processor. It can now stream sound directly from a compatible iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch to the sound processor.
Oh, there you go.
So people who have these that need these implants, they now can use their Apple device and listen to music, or in the case use FaceTime or Skype or something to be able to communicate with people
wirelessly.
Yeah, wirelessly to their cochlear implant. I think that is really cool. And notice iOS.
That's interesting.
iOS.
That's interesting.
iOS, Michael. iOS.
I wonder if they would offer that to some. Maybe just get them just to get them. You know, it's like headphones all the time.
The ultimate ears. Ultimately, yeah. I don't know if I'd want to have surgery just to have those put in, but I know there's people that need those in order, and it helps have a better quality of life.
Absolutely, yep.
And those have been around for I don't know how long, but a long time. But now this new model can do the Bluetooth connectivity to your Apple device. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's crazy how technology is
really cool,
booming right now. You know,
especially stuff for anybody to help people have a better lifestyle in terms of that have disabilities, whatever that disability may be. So I think that's awesome that they teamed up and now they've got that. So what, you got something, Michael?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. I'm having to take this show and run with it. So
I'll mention the
go ahead.
The Windows 10 preview. I know I think I messaged about that last week in the chat, but the preview, the Windows 10, the bare minimum, kind of like, I know y'all talked about it too, but
oh yeah, the 10s.
Yeah, the 10s, like their baseline. That's pretty neat to me. I'm a huge Windows fan. I've been a Windows fan for a long time, and
so are you one of the Windows fans that like take the insider updates, like the fast build?
No, not
you
really.
Don't. Yeah,
I just get into Windows.
You get it when it's like live and stable.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So you're not. We won't put you in the fanboy classification.
Yeah, no. I try and avoid all blue screens of death.
Hey, I hear you. Especially when it's something you rely on for like your school or work or something like that. So you're a Windows, you're a Microsoft guy, but you like your Apple.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good. I mean, I use Windows at work, and like I think I told Michael off air, but like I think my next mobile device is going to be a Surface Book. But I'm probably a couple years from having to get one. So who's to say Microsoft will still offer those in a couple years?
That's true. And I will say too, we talked about it, but I don't mind Android phones. It's not like a one or the other to me. It's just iPhone is so simple, and if mine wasn't jailbroken and had more features, I guess I probably wouldn't be too drawn to it.
So you got those jailbroken ones.
Yeah,
if it works for you, that's what's important.
It's a tool.
Got to keep it jailbroken.
Well, Josh, we want to appreciate you
for
joining us
so
tonight.
much.
You're very kind for you filling in for the Bruce tonight.
The pleasure is mine.
Keeping his seat warm here on the radio. And we want to thank all our listeners for listening tonight. We appreciate you so much. And don't forget, you can catch all our back episodes at HeyTechieShow.com. From all of us to all of you, have a fabulous weekend.
The Hey Techies Show is produced by The Guru and co-produced by Mike Stedham. Join us again next time for another exciting installment of The Hey Techies Show. It's going to be great, maybe.